What we saw this morning was oil for miles and miles and miles.
And U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder says someone has to pay for it.
The Department of Justice will ensure that the American people do not foot the bill for this disaster and that our laws are enforced to the fullest extent possible.
Holder announced a criminal and civil investigation into the enormous oil spill in the Gulf. As he spoke, this enormous circular saw blade bit into the oil pipe. Incredible video taken 1,500 meters under the sea. As it cuts away, the hopes of many ride on its success, including Larry Chambers, who flies over the spill for the U.S. Coast Guard.
When you go on an overflight like that and you actually see the amount of the oil that's out there, it stops your heart for a moment, and that's why we're out there working.
As much as 150 million liters of oil have spilled, contaminating 200 kilometers of coastline. 20,000 people are involved in containment and cleanup. Once the pipe is severed, even more oil will spew freely for at least a day. But engineers plan to cap the geyser and siphon the oil to the surface. Some say the device will fit tighter than a previously failed attempt. Representative Ed Markey is skeptical.
This is an uncontrolled science experiment which is unprecedented 1 mile below the sea.
The engineers are racing against extreme weather. Tuesday marks the first day of the Atlantic hurricane season. Experts from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration expect it to be the worst season in 5 years. Ironically, though, a hurricane might help.
The high winds and seas will mix and weather the oil, which can help accelerate the natural biodegradation process.
Others who have weathered storms disagree.
You take anywhere from a 10 to 20-foot storm surge, catch any of that oil. Once it gets behind the island in our estuary system, that is the basis to life. This could be devastating beyond anything you could ever imagine.
President Obama met with a newly formed independent commission to investigate the spill.
If the laws on our books are insufficient to prevent such a spill, the laws must change. If oversight was inadequate to enforce these laws, oversight has to be reformed.
Meanwhile, the top cap is a temporary fix. The administration's energy and climate change advisor says the next possible solution is not expected to be completed until August.
We have directed BP to drill not one relief well, but two, because if there were some unforeseen problems, we wanted to make sure that we had some backup, some redundancy in the system.
BP shares dropped 15% in London trading, which cut the value of the firm's stock by about $23 billion in one day. This as they try to stop the worst environmental disaster and worst oil spill in U.S. history. Carolyn Presutti, VOA News.